In this video, we will be discussing user settings. User settings are those that are user-specific. This means that each user can set up their own settings how they would like without changing the settings of other users within your center. User settings are found by clicking on the Settings section in the left side pane. They are found under the General tab, Schedule tab, Sessions tab, and Lessons tab. The Schedule tab has already been discussed during the Schedule Settings video, so we'll be skipping that in this video. Let's start with the General tab. At the time of recording this video, the only setting underneath of the General tab gives you the ability to upload an image of your signature. If you are a staff member that has session sign-off permissions and you sign off on a session, then the session will have a copy or an image of your signature if you have one uploaded here. This is certainly not a required feature. However, if you want an image of your signature to show up on signed documents, then write your signature out on a piece of paper and use a scanner to scan it in as an image file. An example of an image file would be a JPEG or a bitmap, but not a PDF. Once you've scanned it in, crop it to the appropriate size and then use the Choose File button here to select the image and upload it. Next, let's jump to the Sessions tab. The first setting found here is Return to List after sign-off. It is recommended that this setting be checked if you have sign-off privileges and have to sign off on a lot of sessions. When you're doing session sign-offs, likely you'll be reviewing a list of sessions to be signed off. You'll click on the first session, review it, and sign off on it. If this setting is checked, then immediately after signing off on the session, it will return you to the list so that you can very quickly click on the next session for review. This will save you a number of clicks during the sign-off process. The next settings are session default values. The system comes with 3 default clinical fields on the session. They are activity, progress, and impressions. While the session can be customized to include other fields, many centers oftentimes choose to use the 3 default fields here that come with the system. Entering in text in these fields will make it so that when you create a new session, these fields will already be filled out with some default text. An example of when this might be used would be if you find yourself writing out the same paragraph over and over and over again, you can set it as a default, and if you don't want to use it for a particular session, you can just delete it at the session level. If you do choose to use it, then the paragraph is already written out when you get to the new session. Session approval values is the next setting we'll discuss. TotalABA has a feature that allows for therapists and or student representatives, such as parents, to approve a session. This functionality will be taught in detail at a later time. However, to give you a preview of the functionality, let's open up a session. On the session on your screen here, approvals are done by clicking the Approve Session button, then selecting the approval type. The options are student representative or therapist. Then, the approver has the ability to type in their name and then use the signature pad to insert their signature. The settings that we were just looking at a moment ago give you the ability to have text appear above the signature section. For example, looking at here at the approval type of therapist, I have text that says reviewed and documented by. You can choose to have this say whatever you would like. Again, that setting is found by going to Settings, then to the Sessions tab, and here under the Session Approval Values section. Next, let's look at the Lessons tab. These settings have to do with the data collection module. Some of these settings may make more sense after you've watched the data collection webinar. This functionality will be taught in detail at a later time. However, to give you a preview of the functionality, let's open up a session. Let's first discuss the left pane percentage. This allows you to adjust the width of the left navigation page on the data collection screen. Let's take a look at the data collection screen for clarification. On your screen now is the data collection screen. As you can see, there is a left pane. This setting allows you to adjust the width of this left pane. The next setting is display lessons with 0 observations. Back to the data collection screen. On the left pane, it will show all previous lessons that have been performed for this particular session. Checking that checkbox will hide any lessons that have 0 observations on them. The next setting is Lesson Result Icon Color Rule. There are 2 options here, None and Show Red if negative yes/no response. Back to the data collection screen. On the left pane next to each lesson, you'll notice that there's a green dot. If the aforementioned setting is set to None, a solid green icon will always display at the end of each lesson. If the second option is selected, any lesson that has at least 1 no response will have a red icon with an X in the center. Any lesson that has a response type of yes and no, but does not have any no responses, will have a green icon with a check mark in the center. Lessons that do not have a yes/no response type will have a solid green icon. The last setting of Display Info Results link is no longer necessary. Clicking on the icon that we were just looking at will now automatically open up the results page so that you can see the results of prior data that was entered for that particular lesson. That concludes the final user setting and this video.